Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about one of the trickiest and probably one of the most popular questions that I receive from people. And I also had this question myself when I had insomnia, which is, should I get up when I cannot fall asleep or should I stay in bed? And I know that there are different maybe teachings that kind of tell the opposite thing, so that can create a lot of confusion, and people generally don't know what to do. So I want to address this confusion and share my personal insights about that. But again, I want to say that nothing here is medical advice, since I'm not a doctor, not a therapist. So I'm just sharing my general thoughts, general insights about my personal insomnia recovery journey, and hopefully that you will find something helpful for yourself here as well. So the idea to get up or to stay in bed comes from usually kind of like two schools of thoughts. The first one, which is like CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which says something like, if you cannot fall asleep in, let's say, the first 20 or 30 minutes, then you should get up from your bed and go in some other room, and then once you feel sleepy, then you go back to your bed. And this can happen on and on, right? Every time you cannot fall asleep, you get up, and so on and so on. And then the second school of thought, which comes from ACT, more like it stands for Acceptance Commitment Therapy. And this is a gentle approach. It is about accepting your emotions, staying with your feelings, non-resisting, being or allowing emotions to come, not running away from them. And usually, I'm not sure if that's what ACT teaches in terms of insomnia, but many people interpret it as, okay, now I have to sit with my emotions. So if I cannot sleep in bed, I don't have to run away from bed. I actually can face my emotions. I can face my anxiety. I can just stay with that fear, stay with hyperarousal, welcome it, and then until it's gone. And just, first I want to say that I don't have anything against kind of both approaches, to get up or stay in bed. I do have a little bit like problems with the time tracking when the CBTI part, because sometimes focusing on time and tracking how much time passed can create this unnecessary performance pressure that just makes us more awake, and it's very counterproductive. But in general, the idea of getting up or staying in bed, they are both can be great, and at the same time they both can be terrible in my experience. And I can easily imagine that, let's say, if we take it as a rigid rule that, okay, from now on I'm going to always get up. If I cannot sleep, I will just get up, and then I will do something, and then once I'm sleepy again, I will come back. And just let's imagine what may happen here. Some nights might be difficult in terms of not always we want to get up. And when we cannot fall asleep, then getting up becomes kind of like this kind of tiring activity. We sometimes just want to just stay in bed, just not sleeping, but just enjoying the coziness of bed, warmth of bed. But then there is this rule, or that dedication that we made for ourselves, that I always have to get up no matter what. That can create pressure. So in a way, the solution becomes the problem. So we feel uneasy about that. And then instead of thinking about wakefulness as something pleasant, something not harmful, something that we can easily relax into, we feel like wakefulness is a punishment. Every time we are awake, we have to get up. So I find that highly counterproductive, and that's why, as a rigid rule, this might backfire. Not with everyone. Maybe someone doesn't have problems. I had a lot of problems with just like following the rule. Every time you cannot sleep, just get up. Then on the other end of the spectrum, there is this staying in bed, which also, like, you would think that this is like a mild, like very friendly version, but at the same time, I also found struggles with it, like personally myself. So I remember that at some point I also kind of established the rule for myself that if I cannot sleep, I will just gonna sit with my anxiety. I'm going to accept the feeling. I'm gonna just, really live with that anxiety, so that can just really work itself out and just leave me alone. And sometimes I ended up spending like the whole night just in that kind of like state, not leaving the bed, but in completely terrified state. And then again, like being very frustrated because I, sacrificed the whole night and then didn't get any rest actually. So that made me think that probably pure methods here don't really work, because the truth is somewhere between the lines. It's never one or the other. And this kind of crystallized into the idea that insomnia is a problem of pressure. It is not the problem of, okay, you're doing something wrong and you should do something right. Insomnia is pure pressure to sleep, pressure to let's say be productive the next day, pressure to don't get frustrated, pressure to do something right, pressure not to do something wrong. So we constantly this bombarded that kind of like makes us feel very unfree, and at some point we begin to feel like we are the prisoners to insomnia, like we are just forced to, either we have to get up every time or we should stay in bed. There's no kind of like middle way, or we are not free to do what we actually want. Which is not really true, because if you think about that, sleep is beyond anyone's control. Sleep is not something that is produced by certain actions. No thought, no routine, no mindset can create sleep. Staying in bed is not what produces sleep. Just like getting up is not what increases your chances to sleep. So when that kind of, the nature of sleep is not really affected by external things, by what we do, then does it really matter what we do actually? So that kind of got me thinking. And then I discovered that some decisions bring me more freedom, more relief, remove the pressure, and some decisions create more pressure. And then I started thinking in kind of these terms, pressure or no non-pressure, which kind of gave me the key to understanding how to spend wakefulness. Because it's not about like always getting up or always enjoying or all whatever, all different schools of thoughts like teach us. It's not about that. It's about what brings more pressure to you and what brings less pressure to you. And I found that when we remove the pressure, that's when we feel more at peace, we feel more accepting, we feel more okay, even if we are awake, which paradoxically creates a much calmer state. And then we just, witness that how sleep just happens to us without us doing anything, just because we were not pressured to sleep. We were not pressured to act in a certain way or feel in a certain way. So I really think that the middle way can be discovered through that navigating where is pressure. And this is why understanding that we don't have to stay in bed if we don't want to. We don't have to, spend all our night just trying hard to accept, to, befriend anxiety when it's really frustrating. We also don't have to get up every time. We are free to do anything we want, because nothing can change the nature of sleep, which is totally passive. So, and that kind of understanding that you are free to choose. You're free to act how you want. You're free to do what you want. Can create this feeling of liberation. You don't feel anymore like you're the prisoner to insomnia, that there is some wrong way and you shouldn't be doing wrong way. Because then when it's all about doing what you actually like to do, or what actually you just feel like doing, not even particularly liking it. If you say that, okay, I'm not enjoying, I don't want to accept wakefulness, I really don't like it, then how about just, giving yourself permission not to like it, just saying, yes, I don't like it, and just owning it. Becoming, instead of insomnia being the ruler of our nights, of our wakefulness, we become in the driver's seat of how we spend our wakefulness, because we are completely free. And just to maybe prove that, think about yourself before insomnia started. How how you behaved when you couldn't sleep. I know there was no fear around the sleep itself, but we never felt like we are obliged to do certain things if we cannot fall asleep. We never felt pressure to do something particular, to make a choice. It was always so natural. If we wanted one thing and then we stopped wanting it, then we decided to do another thing. So that's how things were. And I believe that coming back to the same kind of maybe perception of things as we had before insomnia can actually show us the way out of insomnia as well. So just something to think about here, just knowing that there is no right or wrong way. There is no either this or that, or let's say CBTI is right or ACT is wrong, or like you have to always get up or you have to always stay in bed. It's not really about that. People can spend the whole time in bed, or they can, get up every 20 minutes, but in the end they will be miserable. Or there could be people who just let their body decide what they actually wanted, what felt natural, what felt less pressuring, and then finding that actually because of that freedom, the way how they thought about wakefulness has changed. They stopped fearing it that much. And once there is no longer fear of wakefulness, that's when it changes the whole game. That's when it actually becomes the end of insomnia, because insomnia is the fear of wakefulness. When there is no fear of wakefulness, then there is already like insomnia kind of like begins to fall apart, because there is no reason for it. So and then we gradually start noticing that even without special preparation, special actions from our side, just sleep somehow happens, and it always happens somehow. We don't know how sleep happens. We are not in control how sleep happens. The only thing that what we can help ourselves is just to remove the pressure that kind of stands in the way of sleep. So I hope that you get some clarity from this video. Maybe something resonated, maybe something not. Completely fine with both cases. And I hope that you will get some more insights on your journey, and definitely share some of the insights that you got with me in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.